Welcome to Grow Bible Knowledge with Bible Quizzes. Here we have the women in the Bible quiz from the New Testament. How well do you know the women in the Old Testament? We have 15 Bible questions and answers to challenge your knowledge. Please subscribe, like, and share the video. Hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the next video. Let's dive in. Question 1. She was a prophetess, worshipped God with prayer and fasting, and she was a widow. What was the name of this woman? A. Euodia. B. Anna. C. Elizabeth. The correct answer is B. Anna. Luke chapter 2 verses 36 to 37. Now there was one, Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age, and had lived with a husband 7 years from her virginity. And this woman was a widow of about 84 years, who did not depart from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers night and day. Question 2. She was a businesswoman working with her husband and Paul to make tents. She was also hospitable and involved in evangelism. What was her name? A. Priscilla. B. Lydia. C. Rhoda. The correct answer is A. Priscilla. Acts chapter 18 verses 1 to 3. After these things Paul departed from Athens and went to Corinth, and he found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, who had recently come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because Claudius had commanded all the Jews to depart from Rome. And he came to them. So because he was of the same trade, he stayed with them and worked, for by occupation they were tent makers. In Romans chapter 16 verses 3 to 4, Paul addressed them as fellow workers in Christ Jesus. He mentioned that they risked their lives for him and the Gentile churches. It was a family that dedicated its lives to the work of the living God. Question 3. What was her name? This woman was a seller of purple from the city of Thyatira, a businesswoman. After being baptized with her family, she urged Paul and other workers of Christ to stay at her place. A. Phoebe. B. Lydia. C. Dorcas. The correct answer is B. Lydia. Acts chapter 16 verses 14 to 15. Now a certain woman named Lydia heard us. She was a seller of purple from the city of Thyatira, who worshipped God. The Lord opened her heart to heed the things spoken by Paul, and when she and her household were baptized, she begged us, saying, "If you have judged me to be faithful to the Lord, come to my house and stay." So she persuaded us. Question 4. This woman used her daughter to fulfill her evil plan. She married her husband's brother, of which the man of God had advised that it was wrong. What was her name? A. Herodias. B. Eunice. C. Susanna. The correct answer is A. Herodias. Mark chapter 6 verses 22 to 25. And when Herodias' daughter herself came in and danced, and pleased Herod and those who sat with him, the king said to the girl, "Ask me whatever you want, and I will give it to you." He also swore to her, "Whatever you ask me I will give you, up to half my kingdom." So she went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask?" And she said, "The head of John the Baptist." Immediately she came in with haste to the king and asked, saying, "I want you to give me at once the head of John the Baptist on a platter." Women are influential to those who are around them. May God help women influence their loved ones and the community at large to follow Christ. Question 5. She was barren, and God answered her husband's prayer. Her husband couldn't speak from the day Gabriel told him that he would have a baby until the child was born. He began to talk after giving the child a name. What was her name? A. Joanna. B. Mary. C. Elizabeth. The correct answer is C, Elizabeth. Luke chapter 1 verses 61 to 64. But they said to her, "There is no one among your relatives who is called by this name." So they made signs to his father, what he would have him called. And he asked for a writing tablet, and wrote, saying, "His name is John." So they all marveled. Immediately his mouth was opened and his tongue loosed, and he spoke, praising God. Question 6. Peter prayed for her and she was raised from the dead. She was known for good deeds and helping the needy. What was her name? A. Joanna. B. Rhoda. C. Dorcas. The correct answer is C. Dorcas. Acts chapter 9 verses 40 to 41. But Peter put them all out, and knelt down and prayed. And turning to the body he said, "Tabitha, arise." And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. Then he gave her his hand, and lifted her up. And when he had called the saints and widows, he presented her alive. Question 7. She was the first to hear Peter knocking at the gate after God freed him from prison. A. Euodia. B. Rhoda. C. Martha. The correct answer is B. Rhoda. Acts chapter 12 verses 12 to 14. So when he had considered this, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a girl named Rhoda came to answer. When she recognized Peter's voice, because of her gladness she did not open the gate, but ran in and announced that Peter stood before the gate. Question 8. This woman was known as a prostitute in the Old Testament, but she appeared on the Heroes of Faith in the New Testament. What is her name? A. Mary Magdalene. B. Goma. C. Rahab. The correct answer is C. Rahab. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 31. By faith the harlot Rahab did not perish with those who did not believe, when she had received the spies with peace. Question 9. Timothy's grandmother. She was a woman of faith and passed it to her daughter and grandson. What was her name? A. Lois. B. Eunice. C. Susanna. The correct answer is A. Lois. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 5. When I call to remembrance the genuine faith that is in you, which dwelt first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and I am persuaded is in you also. Question 10. 7 spirits were cast out of her. She was from Magdala. She ended up being a strong supporter of Jesus Christ. What was her name? A. Syntyche. B. Mary Magdalene. C. Joanna. The correct answer is B. Mary Magdalene. Luke chapter 8 verse 2. And certain women who had been healed of evil spirits and infirmities, Mary called Magdalene, out of whom had come 7 demons. We are all useful tools in the hands of the living God. Our history cannot stand before us. Question 11. She wanted her sister to help her in the kitchen, only to find her sitting at the feet of Jesus. What was her name? A. Martha. B. Susanna. C. Mary. The correct answer is A. Martha. Luke chapter 10 verses 40 to 42-40. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she approached him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore tell her to help me. 41. And Jesus answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things. 42. But one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. It is very good to serve, The most important thing is to sit at the feet of Jesus before we can start serving. He will fill us and empower us because we cannot pour from the empty cup. Question 12. She was a servant of the church in Centrea. What was her name? A. Anna. B. Euodia. C. Phoebe. The correct answer is C. Phoebe. Romans chapter 16 verses 1-2. I commend to you Phoebe our sister, who is a servant of the church in Centrea, that you may receive her in the Lord in a manner worthy of the saints, and assist her in whatever business she has need of you. For indeed, she has been a helper of many and of myself also. Question 13. Jesus answered and said to her, If you knew the gift of God and who it is who says to you, Give me a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. Who was Jesus responding to? A. Euodia. B. Anna. C. Samaritan women. The correct answer is C. Samaritan women. Woman of Samaria said to him, How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans. Jesus answered and said to her, If you knew the gift of God, and who it is who says to you, Give me a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. Question 14. At the wedding in Cana, who said to Jesus, They have no wine? A. Mary. B. Elizabeth. C. Joanna. The correct answer is A. Mary, the mother of Jesus. John chapter 2 verses 1-3. On the third day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Now both Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding. And when they ran out of wine, the mother of Jesus said to him, They have no wine. Question 15. Jesus was on the way to healing someone when the woman with the issue of blood touched him. Who was he going to heal? A. Daughter of Jairus. B. Syntyche. C. Susanna. The correct answer is A. Daughter of Jairus. Luke chapter 8 verses 41-42. And there came a man named Jairus, who was a ruler of the synagogue. And falling at Jesus' feet, he implored him to come to his house, for he had an only daughter, about 12 years of age, and she was dying. Thank you for taking the quiz. How many questions did you get correct? Please drop a comment below. See you on the next one. Stay blessed.